Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to my show, High Road to Humanity. In every episode, I tell you powerful true stories filled with great wisdom that you can use in your own life as you strive for a higher road to travel. My featured guests will have their own unique stories to tell that enlighten your mind and your soul. So kick back, relax, and learn the secret to success when you take the high road.
First touch, strong connection, it lays deep in your soul.
Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to High Road to Humanity. And I'm here today with Kac Young, and we're going to talk about cats. You guys, I'm so excited because I have a cat, and I bet a lot of you have cats. And there's two books we're going to talk about. How fun is this? The 1 Minute Cat Manager. Okay, look at this cover. I love the cover of this book. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then this one is Natural Healing for Cats, combining Bach Flower Remedies and behavioral therapy. And this is what I need today. So I'm excited for my cat. So I'm going to ask Kat for some advice on this one. But before I bring her on and read her bio, I hope I don't get in trouble for this. So I'm not giving medical advice, just so you know. But this says, the CDC says, this is just, I pulled this off. What is this? Probably Fox or NBC, I don't know. CDC says that schools should open in the fall, recommends mask for unvaccinated. And this is really bothering me because these are our children. So the Center for Disease Control and Prevention said Friday that returning to in-person learning in school this fall is a priority, which is awesome, and that masks should be worn indoors by all individuals ages 2. And I don't know why my printer went off. That's God speaking. Ages 2 and older who are not fully vaccinated against coronavirus. The agency also recommended that schools maintain at least 3 feet of physical distance between students within classrooms to reduce transmission risk. This goes on. There's a whole article on it. Exceptions should be made for people who cannot wear masks because of a disability or for whom wearing a mask may create a workplace safety. All I know is that I don't think it's necessary for these kids. And I think we all need to stand up and say something about this. My kids are grown. I have grandkids, but I'm just saying, if we don't stand up and say something, I just don't feel like this is healthy. Again, I'm not giving medical advice, but I don't feel it's healthy to have a little kid have this on their face all day. I just think it's horrible. So anyway, I just want people to realize what's going on and please stand up, because that's what we have to do in this case. Now, a little bit about Kac Young here. She's been on the show before. She's awesome. She's become a regular, and she's been a producer and a writer and a director in the Hollywood television industry for over 25 years. She's earned a PhD in natural health, a doctorate in naturopathy. She's completed 36 courses in nutrition from Baylor University. Clients come to her for advice on health, nutrition, spiritual wellness. Kac, welcome back to High Road to Humanity.
Oh, Nancy, it's just such a joy to be with you. Thank you for having this show. Thank you for who you are and how you care. It's really amazing. So I love you and thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Kac. Well, I love you too. And thank you. Well, I care about our kids and I care about our pets. And I went to the zoo this last week and I wanted to free them all, Kac.
Yeah.
You can tell how far I've come as a person, because I was like, oh, well, we need to let them go. Talk about, and I gotta say something to you. On the bottom of this book, you guys, it says Kac Young, PhD, ND, NCH, CRM, CAAP. Look at all these, talk to me a little bit about all your work that you've done and all these designations that you have. My
Well,
goodness.
I tell you, when I worked in Hollywood, it was a gift because we have a thing called a hiatus. So every time you work really hard, 12, 14, 16 hours a day for however long you're shooting,
Mhm.
6 weeks, 8 weeks, then you have this hiatus because then the writers have to get to work and write the next bunch of scripts for production. So
Yes.
in those holes, I'm not a person who just sits by the pool and has a margarita. I like
Right.
to learn things. I'm a learner. I'm a perpetual student. So I would take classes and courses, and during these times, and I was able to build up some of my degrees because, if you go to somebody for advice, advice.
Mhm.
Your gut's going to tell you whether or not they're on the level or just trying to sell you something. So I got really good with my intuition. And what I did then was do deep research on pretty much every subject that I cared about. And
Right.
cats were one of them because
Yeah.
the vets that I had experience with, some were wonderful,
Right.
but some of them just wanted to sell you their food, their x-rays, their ultrasounds. They just wanted all this, and the welfare of the pet was secondary to their mortgage. So,
Isn't that horrible? Isn't that horrible?
well, it's the way of the world. It's the way that our medicine has gotten that way too. Yes, the doctors can see you, but only for 10 minutes. So if you, you know, so we have to take care of ourselves, is what I'm saying. We have
I
to.
agree.
So I researched a lot about my pets and my cats, and I became an expert. Friends would call me up and say, "Oh, I've got this going on. What can I do? What can I do?" And I would
Mhm.
kind of know. So it's come to a point in my life when I've decided to pass on everything that I have learned and researched. So all those little titles and credits means that I've gotten a certification or degree. I mean, I do
Yeah.
have 3 doctorates, and that's been in between the shows that I worked on. But
Amazing.
I wanted to be able to take the very best care I can of my pets and my family. So that's why I got the education to
Yeah.
help.
Well,
And with the cats, I wrote 2 books.
yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Well, I want to start with the natural healing for cats, combining Bach Flower Remedies, because this is really was interesting to me, and I'm going to do this. It's combining Bach Flower Remedies and behavioral therapy. And Bach Flower Remedies came from Edward Bach. 1920s to 1930s is when he did this. And I'm just going to give you a little. He worked downtown London. He invented several vaccines to cure bacterial infections, and that are still in use today. And that you figured out his, or you just took his remedies. Is that what you did? There's 38 of them. Talk about this.
Yeah, what's amazing to me is that he was an MD. He was a celebrated MD in London, and he invented some of the bacterial vaccines and the processes that we still use today. So
Right.
he was trained in standard Western medicine. Now, what he realized, he would need to get away from his lab, and so he would go to a natural
Oh, yeah, I read this.
conservatory. All right.
Yeah.
And he watched, in order to free his mind for creative purposes and just relaxation, he would watch the wildlife. And he learned a lot of how they healed themselves. They learned what leaves they went to, the branches, how they would take care of themselves. And he studied them. So if a particular, bird had an ailment and they cured themselves, he would want to know why. This led him into to natural remedies. The homeopathy was happening at the same time in Germany and England, so he understood how homeopathy works, and he thought, that it's vibrational in a sense. It
It
is.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so as a child, he had walked in the fields of Wales and up the mountains, and he was familiar with the wildflowers. And he decided to just let the wildflower blossoms or leaves or twigs float in some spring water. And then he would try that on some of his clients, because he divided them down into 7 different personality types. And the personality type would dictate what kind of illnesses they would get in their life. And if you really look at them and study, you're going to say,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of interesting. So then he broke it down to emotions. He believes that emotions are the seat of a lot of our illnesses. And if we can
Right.
help and cure, if you will, our emotions or alleviate them, we will prevent some diseases in the body. Now,
Yeah.
for a lot of doctors, this is a very far out, concept, but he was very successful. I've been to his home in
Oh my
England.
gosh. Have
Yeah,
you?
yes, I've been to his home. I've seen his gardens. I've looked at where he lived. I've sat in his office.
Oh my
Looked,
gosh,
I
Kat.
know, I've looked at all the little tincture bottles that he
Oh
made
my
himself.
gosh.
It was thrilling beyond belief.
Well, I want to say something here, and this is a quote that's from the book. You say, Dr. Bach, he said, the easiest way to analyze a person and figure out what remedy is to observe the person's um, assess a person on their negative state of mind. And if you could see the negative state of mind, then that's what they needed help with. That was so interesting. He understood the mind and the body, and the sickness was all emotional, didn't he?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So continue on. Tell me about his house. What was it like? I mean, and why did you get to go? And how did you get to go? Because I mean, he's been gone for a while, right? How did all
Well,
that happen?
on my website, quick guide to bachflowers.com, you can see me at the house, and I've posted some pictures, so it's all available for you. Anybody can go. I mean, you can go and shop in the bookstore. You can wander the gardens.
Okay.
It's very beautiful. It's a modest little home. And it's in, a small little town just outside of Oxford in England, and it's
Okay.
beautiful. It's very wild in a sense. Nothing is like the manicured English garden. And they teach classes at the Bach Center, and it's really quite wonderful.
Okay. So it's for
So
people and for animals. That's what I guess people
yes,
need to understand. It's for all of us. So it's no different. These remedies is no different that you would give your cat than you would give a person, because you have the remedies, a lot of them in here,
I do. He has 38 remedies, and
right?
so you break them down in terms of 7 different types of personalities. So you break that down differently for animals, but it's the same kind of approach. And so did, by the way, it's very interesting. His name in England is pronounced Batch. Dr.
Oh,
Batch, and we
and
call him Bach here
Bach.
because of,
Yeah.
Johann
Oh,
Sebastian, but it's Batch. I know that's fun to know.
yeah.
Anyway, so the 7 personality types also appeals to cats, and you look for what people are afraid of, what people like the negative state of mind in a cat. You would look at a negative behavior to see what is really deep down bothering them. What are they afraid of? What do they come with to you, the baggage from the past? How is that setting emotionally? Because we don't very often pay attention to the emotions of our pets, of our cats and dogs. And this applies to horses as well. If we look to their emotional nature and study that, we're going to
Mhm.
be able to live more compatibly with them and help them live longer and healthier lives.
And they'll
So
be
this is
happier. Yeah.
yeah, and I wrote the book because I break down the personality types. I break
I
down the
know.
difference between the breeds, for example, that if you're looking at the behavior of a cat and you say, well, that's a wild behavior, well then check the breed, because
Right.
it could be in their genetic DNA that this is how they act and
Right.
behave.
Right. We're going to talk about that when we come back from commercial break. Hey, you guys, I'm here today with Kac Young. Both of her books here. One is Natural Healing for Cats, and I'm holding it up, you guys. They can pick these up at Amazon, I'm sure, or on your website. And the 1 Minute Cat Manager, 60 Seconds to Feline Shangri-la. I love that. All right, you guys. This is Nancy. You're out. This is High Road to Humanity, and we will be right back. Hi, this is Nancy. You're out. This is High Road to Humanity, and I'm here today with Kac Young. But before we continue on, I need to mention that, hey, if you guys want a psychic reading, go to my website, nancyyearout.com. For the month of July 2021, when you sign up for a psychic reading with me, I'm going to send you a copy of my book. What do you think about that? And it's complimentary. It's Wake Up, the Universe is Speaking to You, and it's my story. And you can, if you want to pick it up, you can find it on Amazon or at Barnes and Noble. But that's my little gift to you guys for the month of July. So there you have it. Kat, I have to start with my, I always like, I need your help. My cat is a ragdoll cat. I didn't know she was a ragdoll cat for a long time. And you're talking about different types of cats. So I found her in a boat. There were 4 little kittens. She was outside. It was weird to find a ragdoll cat in a boat that was abandoned. She's all white. She has blue eyes. She's the most beautiful cat. When you pick her up, she collapses. That's what a ragdoll cat is. I didn't know that until I went to have her nails clipped, and they told me that's what she was. She is temperamental. Talk to me about her.
Oh my gosh, I can do this easily. I have one.
Oh, aha.
Yeah,
Okay.
his name is Socrates. Okay, so this cat, now I have an opinion about this, so I'm going to try and not be too salty.
Okay.
Has been the breed has been created by people who wanted to make a cat that is docile. What you have in a rag doll is a cat that cannot defend itself. It does not enjoy confrontation. It will not compete. Therefore, it has to be protected by by its caregiver, and that's our responsibility. They are willful because that's the only thing they have. They don't have the testosterone, for lack of a better word. They do not have that oomph to defend themselves. And so they get picked on, they get bullied, they get abused, and they're always the
Yeah.
last guy in line.
Well, she didn't get along with my other cat. My other cat died last year, and I had the older cat, Kitty. I called her Kitty. I had her for years, and then I brought in Gracie, that's her name, and they did not get along at all. They like killed themselves to get my attention, and I paid attention to both of them, but they did not like each other. So that was part of it. And is that part of that breed?
No, that's just something else. That's just they didn't like each other's scent. You know, uh,
It's weird.
yeah, my friend Shelley Kerr would tell you that animals have past lives too.
Yeah,
So
she's been on the show.
yeah. So, and that's part of it. I don't know what that automatic chemistry is, but it is down and out jealousy. Now, the Bach flowers can help that. You can use a Bach flower in the water. And the beautiful thing about Bach flowers is that they just go into the cat or the person to fix the need that needs that. So, in other words, if two cats are sharing the same water fountain, it's not going to negatively affect the
The
other
other
cat.
one.
Doesn't need
Oh,
this emotional help. So it's like these Bach flowers are like they're like the key in the lock that always turns. And that's why I think they're kind of magical in that sense, because we don't have to know more than just, all right, well, this one probably will handle this emotion and this one will. That's what Dr. Edward Bach gave us.
right. Well, and you go through here and you tell what to give for what emotion, but I guess I want to get down to the nitty gritty here. So if somebody has a cat and they have a certain problem and you tell them, okay, this is what they need, then what do? How do they get this remedy?
Well, you go to your local health food store and you
Okay.
want to check the bottle for the expiration date. Now, these are flower essences and they are preserved in a couple of different ways.
Okay.
They can be preserved with a little tiny bit of alcohol, and that's just to preserve them. Which is not going to hurt anyone in a 12-step program or hurt a cat or a
Okay.
dog in any way. There's not
Okay.
enough. So you can get that, or you can also get them that are preserved in other things. So I like the standard ones. You would choose the remedy. You would then, according to the directions that I have in my book, you would create a second bottle with more spring water. In Bach flowers, less is more. You use very
Mm.
little. You wouldn't take it directly out of the bottle. And when you administer them, one of the tips is don't get it don't touch the cat's lips or tongue with it, because now you have contaminated the instance, because you're going to put the little
All
dropper
back in.
back of the bottle. Yeah.
Right.
So if you do that, you want to wash it and sterilize it and let it dry and then put it back in the bottle. But you basically, one little teeny bottle can last you many years, because you don't use it out of the bottle. You create a second bottle that's diluted.
Makes a whole lot of sense. Well, let's talk about some of the cats, how to determine what's going on. You say cats demonstrating typical moods. You can determine what a cat is feeling by observing their body language, the eyes, the ears, their meow. Talk a little bit about that. My
Well,
cat's a talker. She talks all the time.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Gracie? Yeah,
yeah,
Grace?
yeah.
Well, yes, they use what they have to communicate. So if
Okay.
you see a tail that is vibrating, for example,
Yes, yes.
they're happy to see you.
My kitty used to do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're happy to see you. And if they
Okay.
squint their eyes, that's them loving to be in your company.
Yeah.
If their ears are flat, like a little airplane, that means they are not happy.
Gracie does that. She puts her ears back a lot.
Yes, yes. Socrates does too. I do not want to be touched right now. Thank you.
No,
Last
that's
year. Yeah.
right. I know. And they don't want to be touched, and it's interesting because, I have had Shelley Kier on the show and she's talked about the past life with pets. And, what do I'm just going to ask you because I know you're so knowledgeable. Tell a little history of cats because we talked about this when I had her on. I mean, cats are like in charge. Like we are working for them. And I have no idea why that's happening. I have had a cat since I was 4 years old. I've always had a cat in my life. Talk about this. Why do we have this like connection with them?
Well, it's very interesting. It goes back, of course. I mean, the Egyptians worshipped them. The cats
Oh,
were worshipped. I've been into the museum in Saqqara where the cats are mummified. They were so important. Practically, they ate all the mice in the big storage tanks of grain, which then fed all the Egyptians and made their beer, by the way, for the year.
right.
So they were very revered for that and also for their companionship. I mean, there is nothing sweeter than a cat. There is nothing more calming than a purr. The human anxiety level drops down if you pet a cat. So they have been a remedy for a lot of human ills for many, many, many years. And they are in service to us in certain
Okay.
ways, but they
Okay.
never let us forget their value.
It's unbelievable. Well, and I did another show a couple years ago, and I had a doctor on, and it was Oscar. I think it was Oscar the cat. But anyway, he knew he was in a nursing home, the cat. And when someone was getting ready to pass, this cat would go and sit with them. And it was weird because everybody in the nursing home, like all the doctors and nurses, got to know they had several cats, but this one cat would go in every time it was time for a person to pass, stay with them through that whole period, and then leave. And that I totally believe. And I had him on and we talked about it. And every time I've ever been upset, my cats know it and they come and hang out. So that's just, it's amazing, don't you think?
Yes, that intunement is
Yeah,
irreplaceable.
yeah,
Even if you have a partner that you love to death, they're
yeah.
still not going to be as tuned into you as your cat or your dog. I mean, there's a statue in Edinburgh of a dog that went back to the same place to meet the tram of its master for years after the master died because it couldn't believe that his master was not coming home.
I saw that. I
Yeah,
saw
erected a
that.
statue to him. So
Yeah.
it's amazing the bond we have with animals if we let that be so. If we
Mhm.
if that and if we develop it.
Right.
I spend a lot of time with my cats
Me
and
too.
now dogs, and I love the time together, and I love how they respond.
Yes.
There's nothing like it.
Right. Well, and Gracie, I've never had a cat like this where she sleeps with me and she will go right up next to me. I mean, and it's hot. She's a furry cat. I'm like, dude. And like she'll come up in the middle of the night and she'll be right there. I mean, there is no space. And I'm like, seriously? But she's that attached to me. And I think, and I'm just going to say this, I'm going to throw this out here. I figured out she's attached to my energy is what she's attached to too. Because when I was little, and I just want to tell you this because I think it's interesting. When I was 4, my dad had a secretary at work and she had Siamese kittens. And so he gave it to me. He brought home this little Siamese kitten. I named her Samantha. And so, because at that time Bewitched was big and I was a little kid, but this cat slept on my head. And now, years later, I realized it was picking up the energy coming out my crown chakra. Have you heard of that before?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're just absolutely wondrous. they will also sleep on or help you heal a part of your body that is, in repair. That's why Reiki works wonderful with animals, because they don't have the filters that we do. They have no judgment.
Oh, I
So when
love
you
it.
use Reiki or Bach flowers, it's all vibrational. They just drink it in like heaven. So when we work on that plane with our animals, their healing is much more successful.
I love it. Hey, we got to go to commercial break. You guys, I'm here today with Kac Young. I love these books. They're awesome. I love the covers too. We need to talk more about all these different, I have so many questions. So, because we have 1 minute, there's a 1 minute cat manager where she gives 60 seconds to Feline Shangri-la. And we're going to talk about some of that stuff when we come back, you guys. This is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity, and we will be right back. Hi, this is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity. I'm here today with Kac Young. Hey, her books are Natural Healing and The 1 Minute Cat Manager. I'm holding them up here. Kac, let's talk about some of this stuff. First of all, you tell a story in the book about your first corporate job. Talk about that, because it kind of leads into this.
Well, yeah. For years, I was always working in production, and, worked my way up. I was a director, producer, et cetera, et cetera. And then I took a corporate job as head of television for Universal Studios. Now, it was
Wow.
very different. All of a sudden, I walked into something that was like the royal court. There was a hierarchy, there was stuff you couldn't do or say. And I was used to, hey there, hugging people, friendly with stars.
You were yourself.
Yeah. And now
Yeah.
I'm in a corporate thing where, we did everything but have to salute and curtsy to the upper management.
Right.
And why? Because they made more money? Big deal. So,
All right. Yeah.
anyhow, there was such separation, such a class system. So I said, I better master this. So I bought the 1 Minute Manager books. I bought a set of those so that I could learn how to work with people and be delicate. I mean, in television production, you just tell somebody, hey, the lighting looks green over there. Can you fix it? No, not in this production. You just have to say, I was wondering the other day, perhaps if we might take a second look at that, please.
Oh my God.
Such a waste of time. And I was just losing my mind. So I had to
Bet.
educate myself. I read like an MBA
Oh my God.
weekend, how to do that. I did everything to educate myself.
Oh
So
Lord.
I said to myself, well, I was gone a lot. I had to travel a lot. And my little cat Lucy would look at me and break my heart as I would leave.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
pet sitters twice a day. I had all that, but still. And then I learned, why don't I apply the 1 Minute Manager techniques to my cat?
Yeah.
And that meant I walked in, I dropped everything for 1 minute. I paid total attention to Lucy. I paid complete attention to her. And whenever I would interact with her, I would spend that 1 minute. And then she was fine. She would get tired of me and she would go off and do something else. But she got satisfied. It was like a sponge drinking up the water. And then I began to apply that to lots of things in my life. That
Right.
complete direct attention for 1 minute, where the phone's not ringing. I'll answer it later. She was the star, and that worked wonders. I could give her that solid attention when I left in the morning. I could
Right.
give her that solid attention when I came back at night, and everything was fine. She was even better when I would leave and go on, 2 or 3 days away. And
And
that
she knew when you came home that she was going to get that attention.
Yes, and she craved that. Oh, I'm the star for a solid minute. Yay. And
Oh my gosh.
soaked it all up. And then so it taught me a lot about people and cats, frankly, in this time. So I
Interesting.
learned that technique to really pay attention, to really listen, and to really observe. And then I began observing.
Right.
The next layer was to observe her behavior and see what her emotional state was. She lived to be 24, Nancy.
Oh my gosh.
I
That's
know.
I think Kitty was 12. So that's twice. Wow. I mean, how old is that in kitty years? Because it's different. It's
100
like she was 100 and
something.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, she was old. Well, listen, I need to get some advice here. You talk about, and you're talking about attention seekers. You talk about the acrobats. You talk about scratching and shredders. So let me tell you what happened. You guys, I'm getting advice here, but maybe y'all need this too. So Gracie has never been outside because she's white and she has blue eyes and she's a target. I mean, I saved her because that cat would have never survived in the wild. So since I moved back into my house in Albuquerque, I have this nice little green yard, and so I go out. And so I was like, oh, I'll let her go out. This is just happening this year. So I let her out and she just thought it was the coolest, and she ate some grass and she checked it out. Well, now she's realized there's birds, and we have hummingbirds and we have birds and we have baby birds. And I'm like, no, 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 you cannot eat the birds. That's her thing now. She's going to get them. And then she'll take off and she'll go around the side, and she knows she's not supposed to be over there. And we're playing this game and I'm bringing her back. So then yesterday I let her out in the morning, which I usually do because it gets hot here in the afternoon, and she's a cat. She doesn't know it's 100 degrees. So I let her out in the morning. And then I had a Zoom call for a couple hours. Well, she sits there at the door and meows to go out. And I was on the Zoom call literally for 2 hours. And I got done with my call and I went upstairs, and she had scratched in front of my bedroom and then she pooped, but she never does. And she pooped down the stairs in front of the door. This cat has never done this. So have I created a monster cat?
Yeah. The first thing you're going to have to do is go sit in the naughty chair for about 10 minutes because you were naughty.
I just wanted her to be free.
I know. But here's the thing. Once you
Oh, God.
Okay, first of all, let me give you some facts. A white cat sunburns very easily. So if you take her out during the day, you're subjecting her to, the ultraviolet rays that are not good for her. Secondly, unless she's uber vaccinated, you don't know what's in that grass, and you don't know. I mean, right here in Ventura right now, there's a salmonella outbreak in all the sparrows. So unless she's super vaccinated, unless she's protected, that's not a good idea. But what you could do is that you could get her into a leash, and there are certain leashes that I mentioned in the book that are better than others, that are healthier for a cat. Get her accustomed to a leash, and I talk you through how you do that, and take her out for a little leash walk out in your backyard. She won't like it at first because she'll feel unfree, but it's the best and safest way to do that. You two could go out and have a little picnic. You don't want her eating the birds. You don't want her a predator.
Right, right.
So take out some little tuna for her, take out something for her, and you can have a little drink or something.
Oh, okay. I see.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then let her have something else out there that's nourishing and fun, and then take her back inside and limit these experiences to 10 or 15 minutes, because you have unfortunately and unwittingly created a little bit of a monster. Of course she wants to go outside, she wants to scratch on trees, she wants to do all that, but they're
She can't. She
yeah, but
can't.
if she were to get away, she is defenseless. She is the victim. She will be prey, and you don't want that. So
Right.
you have to become the responsible caregiver and say, "I'm so sorry. We can't do that. Bad, mommy." And then, move on.
Do you hear that, guys? Bad mommy.
Bad, mommy. And then just kind of move on, and you can heal this. You can heal
And
this.
okay, maybe that's what I'll do. Well, yeah, because I won't let her out for more. I mean, I'm always out there with her and keeping an eye on her. And if I walk in the house for a second, I'm back out there. I'm like such the mom. But yeah, I wanted her to be free, but it's not working out because she's too much of a rag doll. There's no way.
Right. It's
And
not
it's
good for her
sad.
breed. It's not good for her breed,
Okay.
and it's not safe for her. So the first thing is safety from the sun and from,
I didn't know that. Okay.
the other predators. All right, it's salt. So
Okay.
you're off the hook now. You can fix it.
Okay. The other thing I want to talk about is vacations. I went on a vacation, and I'm bringing these things up, you guys, my own experiences, so I can share them and you can understand what I didn't even know what to do. We took her to, this was a couple of years ago, and we took her to the vet, and we took the kitty and we took her too, and they went to the vet and we went down to the coast. And so they called me a couple of days later and said, you have to come get your cat, Gracie. And I said, why? And they said, she won't eat or drink and we have to intravenously feed her. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. And they said, no. So my neighbor had to literally go. I had to call a neighbor. It was the craziest thing. Will you go get my cat and take her home? She was fine. Why? Is she that temperamental? My goodness, I couldn't believe it.
It's attachment. You're dealing with a cat that was abandoned. So she has the vibration of being abandoned and discarded. When you take her out of her environment where she is safe and she feels she has her nook, she has her crannies, she has her places where she sleeps, she has you. She has these attachments. When you take those away from her, her instinct is to die.
Yes. I couldn't believe it. I
Yeah.
was floored, Kat. I really was. I was like,
They
this is
they go away to die. That's what they do. They go
mm,
away to die when they don't have, the things around them that they think that they are safe. So you leave her home, you have the pet person come in, you
I
do all of
do.
that, but
Yeah.
don't disrupt their daily routine. Don't,
No. Well, a
it,
lot of people can take their cat. I can't. Like Kitty could go. I could take Kitty, and she really liked it because she got a lot of attention and everybody petted her, but not Gracie. So it just depends on the cat.
that's right. That's why you have to get to know them. That's why I want people to, I've made this book so cheap for people that they can get natural healing for cats, combining Bach Flower Remedies and behavioral therapy, because it will show you the little training you have to do for them and how you can get to know your cat safely without bunches of medications. I mean, right now it is so expensive to take
I
care of a pet.
know. I
So
know.
expensive. And we don't have to do that if we recognize their emotional states, how they feel about things, and we are attuned to them. We can help them with natural remedies. Bach flowers is, my number one go-to. And we've been through horrendous trauma and PTSD with cats because we had to leave in 11 minutes when the Thomas Fire ravaged
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I bet that
our
freaked
neighborhood.
them out.
So I
Right.
packed up all the animals, and I mean, I left in a nightgown and slippers with just my purse and cell phone and 7 animals because that's all we had. And that trauma took me years to help them get over, because it was
It was traumatic.
it
Yeah.
was traumatic, and we were all terrified. Now I had to step out on my terror and console
Right.
them, but still
Right.
they were reading, because we were going, do we have a house, do we not? Everything was in the house and could have been gone. It ended up that didn't happen. We'd only lost a third of the house, but still, it was a traumatic
Right.
incident.
Hey, listen, we got to go to commercial break. We'll come back and talk a little bit more about this. You guys, the first book is called Natural Healing for Cats, combining I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing his name wrong. Bach, is it Bach?
Batch.
Batch Flower Remedies and Behavioral Therapy by Kac Young. And the other one is the 1 Minute Cat Manager, 60 Seconds for Feline Shangri-la. I love that. Okay, this is Nancy. You're out. This is High Road to Humanity. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Nancy. You're out. This is High Road to Humanity. And I'm here today with Kac Young. I'm so glad you came on today to talk about this. My favorite subject is cats. Talk about grooming. And I bring this up. You talk about kitty spa day. And I don't know if I'm a bad mommy or a good mommy because I don't ever really give her a bath. But then I decided after I read your book, oh, I'm going to get the kitty shampoo and do it. I don't know if she'll go for it, but I'm going to do it. And then you also talk about their nails. Talk about some of the grooming of the cats.
Sure, sure. At one point I had 6 cats because I just couldn't stop
Wow.
adopting these little cats that were, in peril, in some sort of trauma. So, and so I had to learn how to groom them and take care of them. So clipping nails was the first thing I learned, and I show you how and how not to do that in both of the books and where to clip. But you
Kat,
have
I got to stop you. I'm afraid. I got the nail clippers and I know where you show in the book, and she does, you guys, where to clip so you don't get into their vessel or whatever, their vein. But she won't hold still. But I take her into the place and she just holds still for them.
Well, right, because they have a way of, you have to make it a game, okay?
Okay. So that's why I
One
want you to talk about this.
one cat I had to sing to, and we'd sing the kitty paw song. So we'd do patty cake, patty cake, patty cake, and we'd play, and it became great. And then I would give her a treat. This was Jasmine Rose. And then we'd play patty cake, and then I would be able to clip like one paw, and we'd play some more patty cake, and then I'd do the other paw, and then maybe I would give her a break. It depends on, how far we are going. And I was constantly complimenting her. We only have 6 nails to go. Look at that. What a good girl. It just takes a lot of energy to
It's
do.
hard. It's hard to do it.
And
It's not
some
as
cats
easy.
sit
People
right in your
think.
lap and say, great. Mandy Rose used to say, oh, nail time. Oh boy. And she would sit there and purr and rub on you. It was the best thing in her life.
Okay.
So it just depends on what they do. And in terms of giving a cat a bath, I put it in there of what to do, because some cats will get into things. They're sticky, they're greasy. And so you can give them a bath. And the idea is to start real small. The sound of water can terrify them. If it's a big, like, squirt thing, that'll terrify them. So you have to start little. You have to start gently. And I usually create a little bath in a big basin, a tepid water, and put the cat in there, and just have a cup where I put water over them, gentle, gentle, gentle.
No
Um,
soap or anything, no shampoo or anything.
well, I would if they had sticky stuff on them, or if
Okay. Okay. But if
it,
they don't, you're just saying getting them used to the water. Okay.
yeah,
Because
get them used to the water. And you don't really have to do it. I did not bathe my cats on a regular basis ever. If they got hot, let's say they got really hot several days in a row, I might rinse them off so that they can get some of that sweat off them, because they get hot too. And it just depends, but you have to assess whether they're taking care of themselves or not. As Jasmine
yeah.
got older, she wasn't taking care of herself very well, but I knew she loved to look good. So I did give her a little bit of a sponge bath with some kitty wipes. I bought some special coat wipes for cats.
Oh,
And she
okay.
liked that because it perked her up. She said, oh, look I'm pretty again. So yeah,
Okay.
it just depends on what your cat's going through. But there are lots of things out there that you can choose to help them that won't harm them.
There's two more things I want to talk about. One is senior cats. When cats get older, and you touched on that a little bit, if you would, and then I want you to talk about some of the famous cat owners, but talk about the senior cats and what we can do to help them.
Well, just as an older mother or father or someone in our family, grandparents, get older, so do our cats. And what happens is that their joints become
Yeah.
painful, they have inflammation, things are a little creaky, they have less energy, their smell deteriorates, their hearing deteriorates. So
Yeah, their hearing, you said, was something that went first in cats, and I did not know that.
yeah, it's one of the first things that goes. And so because they hear 5 times more than we do, or at a level higher than us. So
Right.
therefore, their all the little cells and structures in their eardrums are working overtime. So they're one of the first things to wear out.
Okay. All right.
So we have to be attentive then if we want to uh, make sure that they're safe. It's all about safety. So if for their joints, we get little ramps to the places. You say that
Oh,
Gracie sleeps with you, so you would get little stairs.
oh, for her to be able to get up this. Oh, okay.
Right. So little stairs allow her to get up to be with you. And
Okay.
and a little step if she goes on the couch or wherever she sits.
Yeah.
Um a
Okay.
little step that they can go up.
How old is senior? I mean, how old do you consider before it's a senior?
Well, let's say with the pet food, they say after 7 years old, they begin to need different nutrients and different foods. So after 7 or 8, they
Okay.
really are a senior cat. They're getting up
Okay.
there. And,
Okay.
I mean, Lucy, as I said, was 24, and she
Yeah.
was pretty thin. And we were making her food Slurpees by the end because she had or she still had all her teeth, but they were just sensitive. So we adapted for Lucy to really make her life as sustainable as possible. And yes, it requires more time and more care on our part,
But that's
but
okay. Yeah.
isn't it worth it? Yeah, because
Yeah.
they have been our emotional connections so many times. But we have to look for the signs of them becoming, we don't want them in pain. There are some things that you can add to their diet that will help them. Giving some oils to them upon occasion, a little pumpkin in their
Yeah.
diet helps them with
Well,
hairballs.
yeah, I wanted to say that. That's something that I pulled up in here, and Gracie gets hairballs, and I had gotten, and I want to bring this up to you guys. It's really important. The vet had given me like a different, like a paste, because she has hairballs, because she's got such long hair. But I put it on her paw, and then she would just throw it all over the house, and it was ridiculous. But what you say in here is there are some natural ways to help your cat get rid of hairballs. And you say add 1 to 2 teaspoons of canned pumpkin. I thought this was interesting, to your cat's wet food 3 or 4 times a week, or add 1 teaspoon of olive oil to your cat's wet food once or twice a week. And that both of that helps push the hairballs. And I'm going to do this. I thought this was amazing.
Yeah, and if they don't like the taste of the olive oil, or if it's too much, then
Right.
back it off, and gradual with cats. You have to start gradual. If you change their litter, if you change their food, you got to mix it into what they're used to. They don't like change. They do not adapt to
They're
change.
creatures of habit. Yeah.
Correct. And
Right.
so you can do them a favor by just going a little bit at a time. It's not sneaky. It's just the way that it's adaptive. And
It's
we
how they are.
want,
Yeah. I was looking in the book to try to find all the different people, but I'm just going to let you tell some of the stories of famous people, famous cat owners. Can you talk about a few? We got about 5 minutes left, but can you talk
sure.
about some of those?
One of my favorites is Marie Antoinette. She knew that she was in trouble.
Yeah.
And so she had prepared a boat with her Maine Coon cats. She had these white Maine Coon cats ready to go. And they were in the boat, and she was headed to the docks. She was headed to the Seine to get on board, to get out of Dodge when she was captured and beheaded. So
Yeah.
the ship sailed anyway, and the Maine Coons came to America or Canada, and that's how we have Maine Coon cats, because of her French versions of the cats.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
and
That's
Abraham
great.
Lincoln was so in love with cats that when he found some kittens, he made sure in a regiment that he was visiting, he made sure, he made the captain promise him that they would look after the kittens and give them milk as they went off to battle. And so legend has it is that this captain took these cats because the president had told him to,
Yeah,
and
I read that. I was like, what?
cats went to war. Yes, and of course, Ernest Hemingway has the famous polydactyl cats. They have 6 toes, and he had cats
Yeah.
everywhere. He had built his house in a way that he could always see his cats outside. They had a whole cat room outside his house, and they had a passageway that they came to, and he would eat dinner with them sitting at their little table, and they would have their own little plates. So he loved his cats, and the Hemingway estate still has the polydactyl cats. Isaac Newton loved cats. All these famous people. In fact,
Mhm.
Isaac Newton invented the cat door,
Oh,
but
really? I didn't know that.
he
Okay.
did. He invented the little cat door, but he made a mistake, and he said, because he he built the cat door for Mama Cat, and then he thought, well, I better build a little door for the kittens. Forgetting, here's this brilliant man, that they're all going to use the same door.
I love that. That's really cute.
But it's sweet, I mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
And
love it.
The Bronte sisters, they wrote and talked and with cats. They all loved cats. So there's something about them that brilliant people love. There's something that they tune into. There's a comfort. There is a otherworldliness about them, and they are. They get lonely, and they will start to die, because that's their instinct, like your little Grace did. She
I
thought, well,
know. It
I'm
was
a
it was
bit.
devastating too. I just have to tell you, it broke my heart. I mean, I was like, if we weren't, I didn't know what to do. I mean, thank God I had a neighbor to call. And then of course once she got into the house, and then she was okay, even though I wasn't there. But you just don't even realize the little souls. I guess I want to say that really quick before we get out of here. Let's talk about that. I always put myself out there on my show. I don't know why I do this, but so I had a reading. I'm just going to tell you guys this with a psychic, a medium, a famous medium who's been on my show. I can say, anyway, the psychic lawyer, he and I had a reading, and when he did, and I'd never had this before, so he was having, my dad came in and my sister came in, and he said, Nancy, did you have a cat that just passed? And I said, yes. He said, well, she's stepping forward. And my heart just dropped. I was like, oh my God. And I just want people to know that your pets go to heaven. They go to a different dimension, and they don't forget you. And for days, it meant more to me. I know this sounds crazy. It meant so much that that cat was there, that he saw her and she stepped forward. Can you talk about this?
Well, I think that when we come into this life, we have made agreements with people to help teach us various different lessons. And I believe in reincarnation, and I believe that you can come back. If the soul is meant to serve, then we can come back in a form that serves other people and helps them create a perfected path. Now, as we come back and refine ourselves, we have pets that come back. We have people that we have parented us, have brought us here, and maybe in the next time we will parent them. But it's
Yeah.
all about learning and moving and learning and moving. And so, whatever comes into our life is a gift. It's meant to teach us something. It's meant to help us. And
Yeah.
if can see everything as a help, including our pets, then we really live in sync with our process of becoming that spiritual being that we start out with, but somehow forget we are.
Yeah. Well, I just want people to know, because a lot of people don't know that. They wonder. I've heard so many people say, oh, I wonder if I'll see my pet when I die. Yes, you will. I can say for sure. That was the most surprising thing to me. I mean, I've always known it, but to have confirmation is, to know your pet's okay. Because when a pet dies, it's like a person.
Oh, it's just the worst. Yes.
I don't know. So what would you like to leave us with today, Kat?
I would like to leave us with the fact that animals are beings, they are people too. And
Mhm.
if we adopt one of them, we are responsible for them. That
Yep.
means we have to be their shepherd. We have to look out for their good, their highest good, and make decisions on their behalf that really helps them live their good and perfect life. And if we can't do that, or if something changes in our lives, then find a place where they can live to their best and highest qualities. Never leave a cat outside on a doorstep. Never abandon a dog. Always consider their highest good, and that will be your highest good at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, thanks for coming on today. Hey, you guys, if you want to pick up her books, Natural Healing for Cats and 1 Minute Cat Manager, tell everybody how to get in touch with you
Okay,
if they'd like to.
if you want to see my Bach Flowers website, that is the quick guide to bachflowers.com. And my website is Kac Young, that's KAC Young.com, and that's spelled KAC, Kitchen Apple Charlie, Young.com. And you have ways to contact me or get in touch. And all my books are available on Amazon, KDP. So, and please get these books, because they will
Yeah,
help you have a more beautiful relationship with your pets and enhance that relationship.
yeah. Thanks for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. Hey, you guys, this is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity, and we will see you next time. Everybody take care of your pets. Bye-bye.
Connect the dots and keep the motion. Can achieve your goal. Let's hit the high road.
you guys. Join me next week on The High Road for more stories filled with wisdom, love, and hope for our future. Have a fabulous week, and know that by staying on the high road, you will make it to your destination. Visit my website, nancyyearout.com, where you can book a private session to learn how to tap into your own abilities. And check out my YouTube channel. It's Nancy Yearout's High Road to Humanity.
You can achieve your goals.